Good evening, everybody. I'm going to be paused a bit on the opening screen for just a little while. The reason for that is I kind of want to make sure that my host is finished, and actually, I don't know if it makes any sense for me to bring up a browser. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that the sorry. So I wanted to make sure that the like sorry guys, I'm tongue-tied. Let me just get a quick bit of refreshment and then we'll do take two. Okay. So I wanted to make sure that everything was sort of cleared out so I could give a proper introduction to this game. One of the things that is going to be a little tricky is this game is sort of intended to be played in real time, and I kind of want to take some time to explain it. So here's the thing: I don't know this game very well. It's a very early version of it, and I think it's a really interesting project that's going to be going to Kickstarter probably in September, I think. But yeah, it's the best I can say is it's a little hard to get into if you are totally blind. And yet, when I sat down and kind of got to know it, I kind of like played it several times. So I think kind of with that in mind, there's two things that I want to try and accomplish with this playthrough. One, to try and give people for those of you who haven't heard of it, I kind of want to give you a chance to learn about what I think is a very interesting project coming up. Two, I'd like to encourage you to download it and try it yourself. If you would like to know more about the game. So probably already have seen the Twitter, the tweet. It has a link there, but you can also do !game and you'll be able to see the link there. And I'm going to try and explain what I know about this game as best I can. And hopefully from that, you'll be able to get enough of a grip that you kind of get hooked in like I did. I'm not going to say it's a polished, finished work. The UI looks quite nice, but it is very much something that's just kind of a taste of what's to come. But I think it's interesting. Like there's a really big reason why I want to do this, because it's one that I think there's very few times that you get to see something kind of original and interesting in its first form, and I'm sort of hoping that I'll have a chance to check in every once in a while, and we'll remember this stream when the thing finally gets released. And yeah, I mean, when it's in Kickstarter, I'm going to be a bit of a cheerleader for it, I think. So anyways, I've been babbling for about 4 minutes. So let's load it up, and I will try to explain why I was, I don't know, why I was so tongue-tied at the start. This is where the Weather Factory logo should be, by the way. Ugly hell, gape not. Come not, Lucifer. I'll burn my books. Ah, Mephistopheles. Ah, see, this is a problem I run into the game quite a bit. Basically, things go by. If I try to read it out loud, I tend to run into a little bit of difficulty. But that's why I'm going to be pausing a lot. So I really don't recommend pausing this game. It's not quite the way it's intended to be played, but as you can see, version 0.7.6, so very early alpha, now has a Kickstarter link, and we will read the letter. Dear System Jock or viewer, this is a very early build of Cultist Simulator, a game about meddling with things best left alone. There's only a fraction of the eventual content here, and there's all sorts of placeholders, but there's enough for you to complete a modest goal or two, to die if you don't feed yourself properly, and above all, to get a sense of what's coming later. Want to see more? Click the Kickstarter button. Dream furiously, Alexis. So who is Alexis? Well, Alexis Kennedy designed, wrote, and coded the game. I don't know these other names, but Martin Nurukar did the UI design, audio, and some additional coding. And the art is from Catherine Unger, which I'm going to assume operates under the business Clockwork Cuckoo, but it could be that Clockwork Cuckoo is, in fact, another individual or entity that provided art for this game. And of course, here's an important thing. So one thing I really love about this, so it's all public domain. Stanley Kubrick is probably the best example of this. Used a bunch of classical music in his movies, some of the best music that's ever been made. It's a lot less expensive than hiring a composer to do it for you. So let's begin. All right. So I paused right away. If you guys want, so Alexis, and you know what? I already screwed up. I'm going to read the opening. All right. I am a beginning student of the invisible arts. I have only time, hunger, and a little money. Oop. Earlier, I made a note in my journal. Clicking the note above will read it. So this is the challenge that I run into streaming this game. Is I don't know. I read slow, and this game is not quite intended to be played this way. But like I said, the point here is maybe not so much to play it right, but to try and nudge you guys to try it yourself and see what's going on. So it's not a whole lot. For my case, the mouse wheel does not zoom. This is what the mouse wheel does, but we'll live with that. So this is a board game. I think there's a really interesting idea behind here. So let's just take the theme away. One thing I like about this actually is it seems like this is a style of game that can really be applied to a lot of different sort of ideas. But the big thing on this is you can almost say it's like it's the Sims for those who want to involve themselves with dark powers. The Sims, you manage your time and how you choose to divide that time between relationships, between your job, how far you get in life, and ultimately how satisfied you are as a result of these decisions is sort of the big mechanic behind the game. And you can sort of see what's going on in Cultist Simulator. So I should say, like, my introduction kind of makes it seem like the game throws you to the wolves. It's fairly intuitive as long as you're willing to, like, spend a little time kicking the tires and seeing what we get into. But I mean, I'm already going to pause the game, so I might as well talk a bit about what you do. So you'll notice there's the passage of time constantly breathing down your neck. I need money to live, but I'm hoping for a parting gift from my correspondent soon. So what's going to happen is this thing's going to tick along, and it's going to take up your money. So basically just you need to keep a roof over your head, you need to eat, you need to clean yourself, things like this. And this thing basically, the best way I can say is this automatically runs by and just consumes whatever resources it can find. So as long as you have funds, it'll eat these up. If you don't have the funds, then you start to starve. We might see that in this playthrough. So I don't want to give away too much. I want you, part of the fun of this is just discovering what happens. But if you need to know more about something, click on it enough to support me for a little while in adequate comfort. So the game did direct me towards the note. So my correspondent is gone. The pneumonia, they tell me, but the dreams are not. Click on the dream token, then drop this item into it. So this is basically the way that you play the game, is you take these objects and you put them into boxes. Now, one thing that I'm not quite clear about, so if I experiment further, I may find another combination. There will be a great many more combinations in the final game. It sometimes seems, it is here the empty space which makes the bowl useful. Lao Tzu, drop any card here. So, I think this is saying I can put anything inside, but anyways, some of the, most of these individual sort of little pieces have kind of a requirement. So this is dreaming. It told me to put the note in the dream, so I'm going to start that. Normally there's a timer that starts up, but I haven't unpaused the game yet, so it won't be there. Then there's work, earn your living, or practice your arts. So in this case, I'm just going to unpause and let this thing run by because it's relatively short. Again, keep in mind, I'm completely defeating the purpose of this game by pausing. Because this is supposed to be like, I mean, it's if you get into it, like I really got into this game and I was like getting a little stressed out, but I think that's kind of intended, right? You're supposed to be trying to manage your pieces. But in this case, there was a wood, a light, a house without walls. Every night I'm closer, but every day the dreams curl to ash. It's useless. I have work to do if I want to eat. Find a way to earn money. So if it wasn't clear to you to do this before, the game is basically telling me to find some work. So in this case, earn your living or practice your arts. In this case, I went for reason the first time I played this, and because it seemed to be kind of the best way to make money. This is of course how I make money in the real world. If you want, you can do passion, paint. I might sell a painting. I probably won't. And health. Backbreaking work for meager pay. So, again, no reason to overburden myself, so I will find clerical work. And we'll unpause. Maybe see if I can dream on the fleeting memory. Nope. Keep it in there, though. All right. Find work which will spare my body, if not my mind. Oops. Glover and Glover have offered me a junior position. I start at 8 sharp tomorrow morning. So, the scratching of pens, the sourness of dust, the sighing of the younger Glover, and the greedy gurgling of the elder. So I can put diligence towards this. Notice, so I'll give you a bit of an example. So I could devote extra effort to the work. Fleeting memory, can't put that there. To go here, a card must have at least one of these aspects. Reason. Well, I'm going to assume that's... Oh, Lantern. Life is a pure flame, and we live by the invisible sun within us. Tom Brown. Lantern is the principle of the mansus and the light above it. So, in this case, I can put a little bit of extra work into Glover and Glover. I will work whatever overtime the elder Glover requires. Perhaps he will appreciate it. And again, you can see these things sort of tick down. So, what are some other things we can try and do? Well, I could try reason. Dreams of glory. There was once a man who said that the sleep of reason produced monsters. So let's see what happens when I use reason in my dreams. A dream. In the breathy hush of a summer night, a tree hangs heavy with fruit. Each glows topaz or rose, brighter than a firefly, dimmer than a lamp. I could consume one, or I could watch the moths flutter and the tree sway, enjoy the heady brush of the breeze. All right, so things are happening. So it turns out that I can't put the fleeting memory inside. Could I put passion in there? Could I put health in there? Oh, actually, you know what? I can probably put any of these inside. It doesn't say start because it's already going. All right. A legacy arrives. The matter of my inheritance is resolved. I have been promised a package. My package has arrived. I must study it, drag the legacy to the tabletop, and then back to the study icon. So you'll notice now we've got a few different sort of actions to take. There's work, there's dreams, and there's now my study. Hello, Runebroder. How are you doing? So I'm going to stick in my legacy here. My reason is already tied up, so let's try passion. Examine my legacy employing passion. I'll read, theorize, pace, sketch, clutch my hair in wonder, rise in elation, collapse in despair. We're running out of money, so if I haven't gotten money, so we've got 48 seconds to consume this one, and then if I don't have any money the next time this turns over, we're going to starve. But of course, I know that my extra work at Glover & Glover will pay off. Of course, at the expense that I didn't have any further reason to examine my my legacy. I'm somewhat finding this in terms of my priorities between work, streaming, and some of the other things I want to do. But all right, let's pause. A little money and a journal plucked from the fire. Only a dozen pages remain unburnt, but it's enough to confirm my suspicions. My correspondent knew of powers that generals and kings would envy. If only I could follow in their footsteps. There is a note here, directions to a bookshop that does not advertise its wares. Alright, so we got, oops, Notion Power, directions to Moorlands, and some extra money so we don't starve. So I try to keep a somewhat clean play area. One thing that I think would be kind of nice to have in the game is right now you can, so I was thinking like if you click and hold, you could like take the stack with you. Right now you can only take one at a time. So if you want to sort of rearrange your tabletop, there's not an easy way to do that. But I don't know, I'm not entirely sure that needs to be preferred. I mean, while I'm talking about features for UI and things like that, I'm always used to using the middle mouse button to click and drag, but honestly, it's just a matter of learning what what the game is telling you. Like once you get into it, you'll be fine. I also noticed, I don't know if this is a resolution thing or not, but I always see like for the pause and options that I kind of think could hover over the screen, because of course there's a little bit of real estate here that gets blocked. Again, I can always just move. And probably if I had a zoom, I'd be complaining about these things a little bit less. But again, these are like super minor things to point out in the game. What I'm trying to do with this is not crap on the game, because as I said before, like I really wound up spending a lot of time with this yesterday afternoon. But I just want to sort of manage the expectations here, is that I think even Alexis Kennedy wrote about this in his blog, that because it looks so nice, people sort of had these expectations that it would be bug-free, and it's not. So if the game behaves in a way that you find unexpected, or if it does certain things that frustrate you, it's not a version 1 for a reason. And hopefully you'll give it a chance. So, by the way, we're super early into this. This game should take about half an hour to play, is the recommended time for a session. So I'm really milking this thing for what it's worth. So we've got a few irons in the fire, right? We're working at Glover & Glover. We are sort of reasoning through our dreams, and now we're going to try and find Moorland's shop. The directions to Moorland's shop are cryptic. When one deals in the kinds of books my correspondent studied, one must be circumspect. All right, dreams are done. So the Tree of Lights, a dream. In the breathy hush of the summer night, a tree hangs heavy with fruit. Each glows topaz or rose, brighter than a firefly, dimmer than a lamp. I could consume one, or I could watch the moths flutter and the tree sway, enjoy the heady brush of the breeze. The dawn will come, and I won't hasten it. Each fruit is an eye, but each eye is closed. So, contentment. I'm happy, I think. It's my fleeting memory and dream. So, I could do... I don't think I'm going to do reason again. Let's see if I can dream... It has occurred to me that I hold the key to power. This can be used to end the game after completing a rite which confers unearthly power. Dreaming about it might change the goals. So let's not dream about that. I'm curious if I can dream about funds. Nope. Can I dream about contentment? No. Let's try... I'll try health. Again, just one of the things about this is I just try different combinations. So we can do Moonlit Road. So use passion there. And looks like the fleeting memory is going to go away. Recall a moment in time, perhaps fondly. All right, so we've got some events. Extra effort, Glover and Glover. So we've got some money for it. And looks like our extra effort didn't really pay off. I've still got a junior position, so we'll keep working at it. I wonder if I can do... Nope, can't. No contentment, no fleeting memories. Reason. So we'll continue with the overtime if we can. And now we have another sort of another action that we can take. So, find Moreland's shop. An ill-lit street at an ill-favored bend in a lesser river. A soft yellow light through a grimy window. Miss Moreland nods as I enter, but doesn't rise. I never ask the names of my clients, she informs me, before I have time to introduce myself. So, what I need here, if I want to continue with Moreland's, is I need money to purchase it. So the question is, I've got 94 seconds as I work at my job. We've got 53 seconds left here, so I think we will be short. So in this case, I'm just going to hold off on Moreland's. The study of things better left alone. We'll have to wait. Explore a wider world, and we gained erudition. I should seek knowledge as a fire seeks fuel, as a jackal seeks scraps. I never know what'll be useful. Erudition can sometimes be used to gain reason. Oops, sorry guys. I think I just tabbed out. It's one of my favorite. The designer of this game put a little image. You click on contentment, and it's like, I'm content, I think, and then you see the timer click down and just burn up. I thought that was a very, very amusing little tweet. All right. The road crests the hilltop and the air is silver bright. Rumpled fields, a wink of a river, a tingling chill. So, I know I can apply passion towards that. Can we do anything with erudition? Nope. And I'm going to assume that Moreland's can't be dreamed about, but... Interesting. Explore my instincts. What might I become if I do what I desire? I'd kind of be interested in applying reason to that, but of course, reason can get a few... I find reason tends to have a few more uses. And so there's a neat trick in this game. If you want this timer to stop, you can throw it in one of these areas. I haven't had a situation where it's allowed me to do something I haven't done, though, so someone has struck up a conversation with me. This is Leo. Interrogate, intimidate, beguile, recruit. A significant conversation in a smoky meeting room. So we're discussing occult business with this gentleman. I'm curious, by the way, guys, if you have any questions or impressions about this game. I know I'm talking a little bit too much on it, but I hope I'm kind of making it clear in terms of how it goes, right? Like you use these combinations, you have the resources available to you, and you move along. You sort of make decisions in terms of how you're going to allocate your time. So, inspiring concern, averted faces, widened eyes. So we'll put passion back. I've got notoriety, which is they remember what I've done. Notoriety can be used to found a cult and to recruit followers. All right. And a promotion. The Elder Glover has called me into his office to congratulate me. Hello, Johnny Big Time. How are you doing? Has offered to congratulate me on my diligence. I watch the mole on his neck as he talks and talks and talks. But at the end of it, I have a promotion. My new position is better paid, and the desk stands by the street window. So I can put my reason back. I will introduce you to these fine people, Johnny Big Time. It's a little bit of a lower turnout tonight because we're playing a game that I think few have heard of. But that doesn't matter. We are here. Work longer hours now, but they're better paid. So notice here that the time between payments is lower, but of course I'm able to afford some books now. So let's buy a book from Moreland's shop. Oh. That mustn't be a study one then. This is by the, I'll say designer, creative director. I'm never quite sure how to use these. Oh, you know what? I probably should use Explore for this. There we go. Inspiring parted lips, glittering eyes. I wonder if I can use any of these other things for talk. Yeah, no worries, Broom Brother. All right, well, let's just keep talking with him, and actually, we might as well just keep throwing some passion into the movement world. So, actually, John, so I'll just briefly recap. So we're the game sort of unlocks its these things. So when you start this game, you've got your work, you've got your dreams, and you've got the inevitable passage of time. So the idea here is that this game is intended to be played in real time. So this is always ticking down, burning up your funds, and you need to support yourself. Of course, the idea here is that you're a cultist or some, mystic who is doing occult things. And wait, where'd Leo go? It's probably in here. So you have to balance sort of your needs for supporting yourself. The health. Your health can go away if you don't eat. But of course, you want to get on with I've got the notion power here, right? And I haven't gone anywhere to pursuing it. So we're gonna carry on. And again, the idea here is that I need to sort of be managing these a little bit quicker, but the challenge I have is to read the material out loud. I read out loud slower than I read sitting down. And so the challenge here is to try and stream this and explain it to people. It's difficult, and it's not quite the way that the game is intended to be played. So what I'm sort of doing here is I'm trying to give... I kind of like to think that I'm giving people, the best shot that I can to picking this up and playing it on their own. ! Game if you want to know where to get it and find out more about it. But the game doesn't really have a tutorial from what I've seen, so I kind of wanted to briefly explain what we're doing here. So, what might I find? The first volume of The Locksmith's Dream, a recent but intriguing work, handsomely bound in gold-tooled calf leather. So... this seems like a fairly obvious one to put in my study. So read the volume of The Locksmith's Dream. No one has ever explained, while Galmer devoted herself to the chaotic exploration of artisans' dreams. And can I do... Sure, let's see what exploring possibilities does. All right. So all our funds are burned up, but of course we have 38 seconds before we get paid at work, so... all right. I think I'm just going to keep dreaming like this. This, I think, is a nice touch. I don't always notice it, but to see the images in the background is always kind of cool. Can't talk about my contentment. I guess there's no Instagram in Cultist Simulator. I live such a good life. All of my dreams are coming true. All right, more money, ink, paper, and the fizzling of electric lights. The office is dark when I leave. Outside on the pavement, I turn up my collar. All right, let's keep working at it. All right, we're gonna have to pause for a bit. So, read this volume of The Locksmith's Dream. Time and again we hear of the wood which rises from the world's foundation. All trees reach for the light. What does the wood reach for? So I've got a Mansus glimpse and another erudition. And so it looks like I got a fleeting memory for my exploration of my reason. I don't think I'll do that again because reason is a fairly decent thing to hang on to. Study the glorious lore. And so I can put things into it. Let's see what happens if I throw let's see what happens if I throw my contentment in it. I could probably afford another book. Let's try it. Oops. For now, I'm just going to keep chatting with Leo. So again, I was talking about this before. What really intrigues me about this game is, so you think about it, I kind of gave this example where it's a bit like The Sims in terms of how you manage your time sort of determines how well you do in the game. And Gildersleeve's Latin grammar. Looks like I'm going to have to do some self-improvement. I've learned nothing of practical use. What if I combine this with other lore? What if I applied reason to it? I could also try reading. I'm sure with study I could learn some grammar. But for now, I'm going to leave all this. We'll go to Moorlands after I have some cash. But yeah, so the thing that interests me, right, is that Cultist Simulator, I mean, it's got its setting, it's interesting, but you can sort of see how, like, this could become a series that isn't even like, here's the next, you know, here's the next chapter in Cultist Simulator. It's like, we're going to take this idea for a game, we're going to take this idea of sort of managing your resources and your time constraints in sort of this board game format. And we're going to apply it to, you know, a different kind of, we're going to apply it to like a different kind of profession or a different setting or something like that. Like, it's so interesting to see a game like this, kind of, like it's a set of mechanics, but it's something that I think has a lot of, I guess it has some legs. Like, you can sort of see how this game need not be about cultists. Like, it's really interesting in Cultist. And I mean, Alexis Kennedy, for those of you who don't know, he did the Horizon Signal for Stellaris, which is probably, I think, one of the first things of his that I showed on the stream. Sunless Sea, he founded Fail Better Games, so also Fallen London is one of the projects he worked on. He's done something, so he's done two projects which don't have sort of official titles yet. So he's done something for BioWare, and I believe it is supposed to be something in the Dragon Age world. Everybody is saying Dragon Age 4. Nobody has confirmed such a thing. And I've not really played any of the Dragon Ages to comment on the sort of the possibility. Just gonna take a minute here. So let's see. Can't use Mystique. Let's see what I've got available. There's no passion, no contentment. Use my erudition, my health, scholarship. Nope. Can I dream of poetry? So I need something glimmering. All right. Looks like I can't do anything with poetry. I should probably consider buying another book, because it's sort of suggested that I needed some kind of lore to... Oh, you know what I can probably try? See how well this works with my notions of power. But yeah, so I mean, the fact that it's about cultists probably doesn't come as like a massive surprise to people who are, you know, fans of this guy's work. But, oh, I've got a senior position at Glover and Glover. And I think I just lost some of my money. So as far as I can tell, doing additional reason at this position doesn't gain me anything. I can, however, passion. I've given up my dreams. I'll live well enough and settle into a comfortable existence. We're not quite ready to do that yet. We'll see what we can do with our ambition. There's nothing of practical use. What if I combine this with other lore? All right. So hopefully we'll get something from the bookstore before too long. Collection of essays, fair enough. Insight, understanding, and experience. So I believe I can put erudition into that. Reason? All right, so apparently I need another point of erudition before I can do anything with this. Actually, that may not be true. So we'll see what reason and passion gives me. Doesn't want it. Doesn't want it. All right. So yeah, I gotta be patient. Although I guess I can keep churning out contentment. Hey, Zodicide, how are you doing? What I'm going to try and do now is play this without pausing. If something new happens and I want to read the text to you, I think I'll maybe do my best with that. But just so, I mean, I think I'm making the game seem a little boring just because not a whole lot's happening. And one of the things is that normally I'd kind of be, I'd be juggling these things in real time. So I could probably also afford to do a little bit more book-wise, but. So basically I've got like 3 rounds of payments that I sort of need. So I'm still going to try like one exploration a turn. But I wonder if I can dream about this. No. De Horace. All right, sounds like something I can study. And I am a scholar of the Latin. What are we looking at here? So 2 funds, 90 seconds to go. I can't remember how long this timer is, so it's 1 minute. Oh, hello. Sickness, I have become unwell. If illness cannot consume health, then it will cause death. Normally that happens if you... normally that happens if you starve, but apparently that can happen at random. Interesting. All right. Again, don't have a whole lot to do with this mystique, but it's one of these things where, like, because I can generate something from it each round, and I don't really have any other use for it, I just kind of hold off. All right, so I've got another erudition. So I'm tempted to do that, but for now, let's do a collection of essays. Uh-oh. Attention by the authorities. Rumors squat on the rooftops and flutters and gutters. All right, so I don't have any notoriety to worry about. The sickness has ravaged my body, so let's try and manage things a little bit better than we have so far. Can I dream about the sickness? Yes, I can. I need money for food and medicine. All right, so no book to buy this time, but that's fine because we've got some additional erudition to throw at the... Where'd the go? Okay. To throw at this book of essays. All right, I've got mystique, not notoriety, so this attention should disappear after a while. Oh, and I'm done work, so let's... it's fairly important to keep the nose to the grindstone on this one, so let's throw one of these in. Oh, what's happening here? Another acquaintance. Hello, Dorothy. Got another person I can talk with if I want. They question me, I might be innocent, but a certain suspicion clings. So I'm going to have notoriety for a while. If that event were to sort of trigger again, what would happen is I would, it would automatically eat it, and I would potentially go to jail. So won't let me sneak the notoriety away, unfortunately. So here we're in a nice little spot. All right. Okay, so using all that erudition gave me another reason, which is kind of nice because I always tend to find myself a little short on it. And let us read De Horis. Oh, more notoriety. Let's talk with Dorothy. You seem nice, Dorothy. A pleasant day. This morning there is a spring in my step and I'm not sure why. All right, the sick room glows close and stale. Time to get up. I've got my health back. And I am content. Let's continue with this contentment by putting some passion in. I wonder what happens if I dream of Leo. So I don't want to buy a book right now because that would leave me short on... Oh no, it won't actually. So let's be bold and purchase. So you guys getting a little bit of a better idea in terms of what the game feels like on its own. Just got on here wondering if anyone else is confused by what's going on in the game as you are. Uh-oh, it's out of sight. So the idea here is that this game, I'll pause and show you. So you've got the inevitable passage of time, just your normal needs that you sort of have, the food and toiletries and whatnot. And you've got a few different actions you can take. Now you don't start with everything you don't start with all of this at the beginning of the game, but basically you can do work, you can dream, you can study, you can talk, and you can explore. So what you do is you manage the resources that you have. In this case, these are my mental resources, my reason, passion, and health. I've got certain traits, so notions that I have access to great and dark powers, and I can read Latin. Dead language, dead as diamonds. Some books must be translated before they can be read. I've got a collection of poetry that I don't really know what to do with, and I've got some degree of notoriety, which is a reputation. They remember what I've done. Many fear their reputation, few their conscience. Pliny. Where's it, Pliny? But basically this game is a lot about time management. And I was being a little more granular at the start. Actually, so I'll show you what I was doing here. I was being a little more granular at the start in terms of kind of each step, but this game is sort of intended to be played in real time, and it's a little less. I mean, it has a pause option, but it's I sort of ruin the impression if if I spend too much time paused. So I don't know. Hopefully that explains things. If you guys have any questions, please do ask them, because the point on this is to try and, hey, Elkanu, thank you very much for the host. Sorry the graphic isn't showing. Hopefully this will nudge you guys to try this game yourself, ! Game, if you want to know where you can get it. This is free right now because it's just it's an early alpha, it's a prototype. But it's I think it's really interesting. So I'll read the text for this, but let me do in reverse order the hosts and streamers who are in the chat. We've got my dear friend Johnny Big Time, who's probably very interested to find out that the designer of this and Sunless Sea and whatnot is working on a Dragon Age title. He is currently doing a big Dragon Age series playthrough. He's completed Dragon Age 1, Dragon Age 2. He is currently playing Dragon Age Inquisition, having a really good time of it. He is a lot of fun to watch. And I think you were talking about doing BioShock next, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember if you have ever played those games before, if you have or haven't, but Johnny is an extremely clippable streamer. He has got a great personality. He's a very dear friend of this cast. He's one of my favorite people to watch. And he is, he's just somebody who you are doing yourself a tremendous favor if you check out his cast. If you haven't done it, and you need more convincing, click on his name and click on his clips. Just take a look at them. You'll be able to see how many... you'll see how many are from me, first of all, but you will just see how great this guy is to watch. He's just, I'll say this about the next streamer as well, but Johnny is a born entertainer. He is very good-natured. Even if he's pissed off at a game, you'll still be having a good time. So it's, I don't know, it's great. And I hope you guys do check him out. The person who just hosted me, of course, is Elkanu, a French caster. I can say beyond a shadow of a doubt, my favorite French caster on Twitch in this chat right now. Elkanu is somebody who I originally watched to improve my French a little bit, and because he was playing Satellite Rain, an indie game that I was quite interested in, I wasn't going to buy it until I watched his cast. So he is, I think, one of the best casters of titles that you haven't seen before. I am not going to be able to do any justice to this game the way that Elkanu has on other titles, but I hope to do my best. I hope, if nothing else, that you guys will give this thing a try for yourself and not be as confused as I was when I first looked at the game. But Elkanu is an extremely good-natured, very funny, a very fun caster. Again, I need to stress that even if you guys don't speak French, the language barrier is not a problem. He is a caster who is as fun to watch if you don't understand a word of French as if you do. I will admit that my French lessons have been more so exercises in profanity rather than any other contributions. But I've always had a good time in Elkanu's channel. He was playing some Dark Souls 2 the last time I was able to kind of take a peek in, but he does a lot more. I think also he's been doing the new frontier for Walking Dead, which I think another way you can think about this game is if you were to base a game entirely on the QuickTime events, or maybe not the QuickTime events, but the dialogue options in the Walking Dead series. This would be another description of what I could say Cultist Simulator is like. But Elkanu, again, for many of the reasons that I like Johnny, I also recommend Elkanu. But especially too, if you're a streamer and you really want to understand how you can connect with an audience, notice, and especially if you don't speak French, notice how you can completely understand what's going on with Elkanu. You may not be able to articulate it in the sense of like, this is specifically what he said, but you'll know when it's like a hard part of the game. You'll know when, like, you'll laugh your ass off, first of all. Usually, but you'll be able to understand exactly what his experience of the game is, independent of whether or not you understand the words that are being spoken. It's a really, I think it's a really impressive way of communicating. I think he does a really good job of it, and I encourage you guys to check it out, especially if you are casters. And yes, Johnny Big Time, the guy who's working on this, has finished his stint at BioWare on. Again, I need to be clear, it is not a Dragon Age 4. It is something in the Dragon Age universe. but it is something that you need to check out. And El Canoe, I will say, the ending. So I was interested in the story. The ending came as a total surprise to me, and I was very satisfied by it. So I do encourage you to finish that game. All right, read de Horace. The glory is a question, and the moth always answers yes. The black flax's answer is no, and that is always its answer. All right. Oh, cult things are happening. So we will study the glorious lore, and this time we will mix it with wood whispers. Got another collection of essays. Probably I won't be able to do much with that, but we'll see. All right. So if you are wanting a strategy, and I don't really think that's the way to think about this game, what I normally do is I establish myself in this role. I sort of establish myself in Glover and Glover, and then sort of do my culty things. I mean, it was sort of forced on me in this case because I didn't really have any way to pursue my occult knowledge. But all right, so learn nothing of practical use. Not really sure what to do about this. The Locksmith's Dream, portions and proportions. Let's study this. In this volume, Gallagher records fewer dreams and explicates more on her own elaborate theories. So let's see if we can dream about the... Nope. So back to passion. I guess I can put Orland's shot back here until I have more exploration to do. I have a feeling I think I can get something done here in terms of this in terms of the wood whispers. Yeah, this is lore. That's so unusual that it recommends me to combine this with lore, but that didn't work here. I must be missing something. All right, let's see what happens here. I'm probably going to want to use this soon, actually, so let's... the consent of wounds and erudition. All right, I'm going to pause for a second. I just want to see what this collection of essays is going to cost me. Yeah, it's going to be 3 erudition, so not a lot I can do with that. I don't think anything has the glimmering. So this has got knock. The knock permits no seal and no isolation. It thrusts us gleefully out of the safety of ignorance. The knock is the principle that opens doors and exposes horrible secrets. Lore, a desire of knowledge is the natural feeling of mankind, and every human being whose mind is not debauched will be willing to give all that he has to get knowledge. Samuel Johnson. I knew a man who captured moths in a bell jar. On nights like this, he would release them one by one to die in the candle. Moth is the wild and perilous principle of chaos and yearning. Okay, let's do the Mansus Glimpse again. And this time we will put the consent of wounds in. Nope, and we will unpause. So in 10 seconds we will get some cash. This time I think I'm gonna hoard it. So I'm gonna skip the senior position at Glover and Glover for now. We're gonna do, All right, nothing to do with that, so we will continue with Glover and Glover. I'm kind of curious. Oh, nope, can't do acceptance. So if I want to end the game, I can actually put a passion here, but we're too far to get this, give this up. So again, if you guys have any questions or any comments, I'm happy to try and answer what I can. Actually, okay, so nothing of practical use, huh? Okay, well, let's study the consent of wounds. Can't do it. Wood whispers, can't do it. There's got to be something I can study. Study Leo. The Orchid Transfigurations. I'll take my Latin for Dummies and I will translate the hell out of that. And again, here I'm just ticking by. Actually, you know what? I should probably see if some of these dreams can do something about this. I feel like I'm getting a nice little collection of lore, and it's not. I'm not making the best use of it. If the authorities look for me, they're not going to like that notoriety. Okay. I'm still going to have to study this once I translate it. But okay, so let's just see if we can do any of these as dreams. No to that. No to that. And no to that. So, back to passions. Ah, glimmering. Okay. The Orchid Transfigurations, a feast. The illustrations are certainly striking. They flush the skin and glow beneath the eyelids after the book is closed. Sounds like a good read. What is the notion power again? So this is sort of my goal. I will read you the description. It has occurred to me that I hold the key to power. This can be used to end the game after completing a rite which confers unearthly power. Dreaming about it might change the goal. So this is lore, lore, and lore. So we don't have any rights yet. Except our natural God-given rights as Englishmen, or Americans, or Canadians. I can't get another passion once I'm done studying this, but I kind of want to see if I can. Hey, optimistic gamer. I kind of want to see if I can do something with this stuff that I've found. If nothing else, I'll do glimmering so I can get another passion. Oop. All right, we must devour to be devoured. We cannot be undevoured as we cannot be unborn. The delightful sacraments and one more glimmering. So let's just take a second here. I've never had a chance to do glimmering, so let's read some poetry. And this is more lore, so pleasant upon the ear, one could listen over and over. All right. More conversations to be had. I think I'm going to try. I can definitely get a little bit of savings, so we'll see what we can do with the delightful sacrament when I study. Exclamation mark game optimistic gamer if you'd like to see if you'd like to get a copy yourself. It's currently in alpha, so it's basically an itch. It's a itch project right now. It'll be going to Kickstarter in September, it looks like. But I mean, Alexis Kennedy has done other games before, all of them great, and he's a very good writer in terms of and just in terms of gaming topics as well. So I would encourage you to check out the Weather Factory page just so you can experience his writing on other topics. He had a really good Eurogamer column, and So it looks like... So I think... Yeah, it looks like it just ate the glimmering and didn't do anything. Oh well. Is there anything I can do about the delightful... Oh, I got money. Again, I pretty much want to be fairly constant in that. So let's see what we can do with the delightful sacrament. Study the succulent lore. All right, well, let's try and mix that with the wood whisperers. Grail, hunger, lust, the drowning waters. The principle of the red grail demands to be fed. So I'm assuming there's like some combination of these, of this lore that I can do that will unlock more things for me, but I'm kind of dumb, so. But then that's kind of the fun in this, right? Like I got to maintain myself while I, I've got to maintain myself while I continue to study. It's not like, you know, I don't think there's an instruction book for being a cult leader. So I'm assuming some experimentation is in order. This is like for me when I play Skyrim, which is admittedly not my favorite game, but it's interesting. I never go to wikis for the alchemy. I always feel like part of the experience is learning the alchemy yourself. Fortnite, have you seen it? Yeah, Johnny's been playing it actually, and I was in the alpha, but it was the time you couldn't stream it at that time, so I kind of had to I didn't play it for a long time. I was intrigued but not enough to sort of stay with it, and a lot of my gaming time now is being taken up with streaming, so the fact that I couldn't stream it was a little bit of a deal breaker. I'll probably try it again though. Are you a particular fan, MC? More sickness. So I'll put that off to the side. This is going to mean that I want to burn some cash to get better. Fortunately, I'm going to get paid at work relatively soon, so I may not buy a book. I mean, it's not like I'm not short on... use this 3 erudition, 3 air. Yeah, so no shortage of essays. I'm maybe going to skip the book for now just to make sure that I can heal myself. All right, no luck's there, so last thing I can do is put the Mansus Glimpse. I also had one other idea in terms of what I might be missing. But I'm going to have to wait till I'm done working to try this out. Uh-oh! The authorities are beginning an investigation. You'll need to find a bribe or a scapegoat. Well, I can't imagine why you'd be a fan of that guy, MC, but... yeah, to each their own. Alright, so we're going to kill passion for a bit so we can spend some money and recover. I might also need to bribe the police, which is a little inconvenient because I kind of need this money to move forward, so... So how are you finding it, Johnny? Oh, you know what? I don't need to bribe. I might be able to use my acquaintance. Still learning stuff about it, but it's fun. Alright, so we've had no luck with the delightful sacrament. So let's try the consent of... oh wait, I can't do the consent of wounds. Okay, well let's try Mansus Glimpse. Mystique is more so just to kind of keep me there. All right. So the Suppression Bureau has begun an investigation in earnest. They are charged with suppressing the less usual type of criminal, the criminal whose crimes may exist only in dreams. So let's see if we can sell out Leo here. Nope. It has to be a follower or a shilling. And Leo is an acquaintance, not a follower. So let's put some money in. Bribe, I am negotiating. So I should get some health back from here. The real question is, I'm going to be trying something with Wood Whisperers next. That might sink me for cash. If you enjoy slaying waves of zombies and collecting loot, then you'll have a good time. It's nice to just put on some music and destroy things. I agree. Again, it's not always been my exact type of game, but just like saying that doesn't mean that I bribe money well spent. One might consider it a kind of levy on genius. Good lord. Can I dream about any of this? I cannot. Learn nothing in practical use. What if I combine this with other lore? I think I've already mixed it with everything, but let's try the Consent of Wounds again. I'm sort of grasping at straws here, but... Alright, so we're going to pause. And... just want to see if there's anything I can do with any of these other... Found a society. I need assistants, companions, and followers. Works for me. This is actually a nice way of... so I'm getting rid of my notoriety here with time, and then I'm burning this for... tradition and compulsion. Old, new, or both together. You'll need lore to determine the founding principle of the cult. Alright, well... choose founding principles. Let's try the Delightful Sacrament. Oh, nope. Apparently I can't establish the Order of the Bloody Cup. Well, I think I'm going to need to make some decision, so... This is going to be very upsetting if... This is so unusual. Oh, maybe I just need to keep it in here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. An occult society dedicated to the mysteries of birth, blood, and appetite. In the Alpha, however, all cults are effectively identical. All right. So that makes sense. Basically, you have to do something with that in time. Cool. All right. So if I experiment further, I may find another combination. There will be a great many more combinations in the final game. So we'll turn Dorothy, an acquaintance, into a recruit. Oh, and you know what? I should probably get back to work. Can I give a brief synopsis of this game? Sure, Optimistic Gamer. So I've said this a couple of times, but I think probably, hopefully people don't get too worked up with the... All right, the oaths are resonant in thunder in a church. I know it well. I know them well. I wrote them myself. So basically, you can sort of think of this as a board game version of The Sims. So you've got this timer in the middle, which is constantly burning down your funds. So you need to sort of maintain yourself. The idea here is that you're going to split your time amongst several different kinds of tasks. So the game starts you off with work and dreams, and then study, talk, and explore come up through the game. In fact, you can use cultists to explore the city. So the way this game is sort of intended to be played is unpaused, but the drawback is that as I read the dialogue and such, it moves a little bit faster than I can read it. So I wind up in a bit of a bind in terms of trying to communicate what I can. So basically the idea here is that you need to manage your time and your priorities in order to oh, you know what? I don't have a way of inducting him. So Leo, we're gonna have a chat. But yeah, so now I've got a little bit of a routine. I sort of know what some of these cards do. And so what's going to happen here is I'm going to have a conversation with Leo. That's going to develop some kind of a thing with which I can attract him, with which I can bring him into the cult. And once I do that, I'm going to be able to... Sorry, I'm just thinking for a bit. Can I study this? Nope. Use my contentment. Oh, you know what? I should try using my passion on this. But yeah, basically you find kind of combinations. You have your resources are not just your time, but also your kind of your faculties. So I've got 3 reason, 2 erudition, 1 passion, or 2 passion, because 1 is being used right now. My health. I've got different locations. There's a lot to do. Oop. Buried knowledge. Averted faces, widened eyes. All right, well, I should be able to convert Leo with that, and I do kind of want to burn up this notoriety, so there we go. So again, my ostensible goal is to sort of achieve this great power through a ritual, but I don't have what I need to actually perform a ritual. So I'm trying to sort of combine all of these things that I have in a way that will allow me to sort of accomplish this. All right, learn nothing, still nothing about this lore. Let's try some passion. I think I've done just about all of my different combinations. Okay, so Leo is now a believer. Let's just have a conversation with Leo about this. And I've got some more money, so I'm going to just take a quick look here and see if there's some other work that I can do. So can I do something with the Order of the Bloody Cup? A new recruit or a hardened disciple. Oh, interesting. So I can put more effort into switching them over. Hey, Kyle, I'm glad you find it interesting. The idea behind this was to try and get people interested enough to try it on their own. Oh, you know what? I don't know if I have a motive for these guys. Yeah, contentment's not going to drive them. So, I think I'm going back to Glover and Glover. And I've got some extra money, so let's we're gonna buy something else at Moorlands. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I hope I'm not too repetitive on the I hope I'm not too repetitive on the you know, the sort of the Sims connection or that. So there's a few end goals. So far as I can tell, so if I want, I can spend 1 passion acceptance, I could devote my life to this. So in this case, I abandoned my ambitions to sort of be the herald of a new age, and I just accept my job at Glover and Glover. That's a boring way to end the game, though. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to use Notion power. This can be used to end the game after completing a rite which confers unearthly power. Dreaming about it might change the goal. So what I'm trying to do right now is find a rite. That's easier said than done. Oop, Traveling at Night, Volume 1. The Dream Journal of Christopher Illoppy, sometimes called the Only Readable Occultist. Sounds like somebody who works for me. Can I not send her to explore? Intriguing. All right, so I've got some notoriety. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to... Oh, maybe I can. Can I turn them into a true believer? And... Leo apparently can't explore, so I think I found what I can in the city. So we'll keep Moreland's shop here for now. And we will travel. We'll read Traveling at Night as we try to make sense of the occult. So there's a few different ways that you can end the game. Again, it's important to remember that this is basically just... So originally it was a proof of concept. And then I think now it's sort of being used as a, hey, give this a shot, give us some feedback. None of which I really have any to give. I mean, there's like minor things on like the interface for me, but like I don't even know if some of these things are just for some reason it's not working on my computer as opposed to the way that it was intended to be. And like more important, I don't know enough about making games to be able to like have a major statement. One thing that I can say, whoa! All right, that wasn't quite what I was expecting. I was thinking I'd like turn them into a hardcore believer, but that is apparently not not the case. So yeah, as I said, like the thing that I'd like to do the most is to just try to give people a little bit of an idea. Okay, so we've got more than one Wood Whispers. But I can read more essays. Everybody knows how much I like essays. I think the biggest thing I'm trying to do, I didn't know, there's some things that I didn't quite get about the game originally. And I wanted to sort of show roughly how the whole thing works. And if that could kind of push people into giving it a shot, I'd have considered this stream a success. I mean, I obviously would sort of play it on my own anyway, but okay. Let's see if I can... Nope. All right, doesn't seem like there's a whole lot for me to do here, so I'm going to pause for a second to see if there's anything special I can do with these. I seem to have hit a little bit of a wall in terms of... So I can burgle this place, but... I don't think that's a great idea right now. Where's my reason? I got 2 reasons. Well, let's see what happens if I can put some more devotion and diligence into this. So it's not like my reason's being used anywhere. And I now have 4, so. Okay. Uh-oh. I think... So this is a bug in the game, and unfortunately, I think this is going to end the playthrough. So what happened here is this is sort of set to improve my reason. The drawback is the only way that you can learn more about these rituals and such is by using your study. And so far as I can tell, there's no way for me to reset this thing. Which is a shame. So I'll show you one way you can end the game. Let's do a burglary while we're at it. I don't want to have that notoriety in case my burglary pops out, so. Uh-oh. Got the attention of the authorities. Possibly because I tried to burgle something? Ah, so given the colors, I have a feeling that this might have... Or a fragile manuscript illuminated by its twin shapes of sad and luminous beauty, and with the phases of the moon. It might be as old as the 6th century, but the language, Fusine, is much older. The page edges have been known to cut like razors. Note, Fusine cannot be learnt in the alpha, but the book itself has power. Yeah. So I get some notoriety for my trouble. We'll maybe throw that other one out. You can die in this game, Kai LB. You can decide here as to whether or not you we win here. So I have my fire, my books, my clock, my window on the world where they do other things. I could have been unhappy. I'm not unhappy. This was a successful life. And when it is over, the sweet earth will fill my mouth softer than splinters. By the standards of this prologue, this might be considered a victory. You could carry the legacy through to another character. So if you'd like more content or if you have opinions to share, please click this button. If you'd like to experiment with the game a little further, this is the button for you. Or is it goodbye? Leave. So is anybody going to be too upset with me if I restart from the beginning just so I can show you guys how it works? I'm maybe not going to be as granular as the first bit, but I can sort of show you how the game starts, and I'll try to read the dialogue as clearly but as quickly as I can. Is everybody okay with this plan? In the meantime, I'm going to put up a... So that is where you can download this game yourself. I believe it is available on PC, Mac, and Linux. The Linux is completely untested. But then again, if you like Linux games, chances are you've already... sort of... you kind of already know what it's like to game on it. So I'm going to try this one more time. I think we'll have enough time to do what I had planned for the evening anyway. So if you guys don't like this game, sorry, we'll do at least one more. I quite enjoy it. Like I said, I got sucked into it yesterday. So, and I'm going to try and resist the urge to pause as much. So this might be a little crazy. All right, I'm a beginning student in the visible arts. I have only time, hunger, and a little money. Earlier, I made a note in my journal. All right. My correspondent is gone, the pneumonia, they tell me, but the dreams are not. Click the dream token and drop this item into it. So this is what you start off with. The game gives you a little bit of a start with a note. Only takes a couple seconds to do this. I also know that I want to start working at Glover & Glover, so we'll start that right now. All right, so I've got a fleeting memory. I'm not sure what that does, to be completely honest. I've never found a use for a fleeting memory, but... All right, back to my junior position. And we will work up the corporate ladder. You can move these things wherever you want, but... Oop. Feels like there's a little bit of a delay tonight, but... So you can see here, right? Oh. A legacy arrives. The matter of my inheritance is resolved. I have been promised a package. My package has arrived. I must study it, drag the legacy out to the tabletop, and then use the study action. And I will employ my reason to my legacy, because I am a big fan of reason. So my fading memory just burned up there. That was that sound. How do passion and reason affect working dreaming? I assume they yield different results, but are they long-term? So I've seen that I've been able to move up in my job at Glover & Glover. I am a little hesitant, Kaya LB, to give away too much about the game, because part of the fun of this is discovering what these things do, but you're absolutely right. So a perfect example, last game we did passion for the legacy, and we wound up with a different notion. So now I have the notion enlightenment. So there is definitely, if you're given an option for, so if as long as the token accepts it, there will definitely be different outcomes based on what you use for it. But I am gonna keep the specifics on the jobs under my hat, because I really do want you guys to download this game and play it. A little money, a journal to be plucked from that was plucked from the fire. Only a dozen pages remain unburnt, but it's enough to confirm my suspicions. My correspondent knew secrets beyond the skin of this world. If only I could follow in their footsteps. There is a note here, directions to a bookshop that does not advertise its wares. So again, I broke my pausing rule there, but that was just so I could read some more. The directions to Moorland's shop are cryptic. This one deals with the kind of books my correspondent studied. One must be circumspect. So 30 seconds as we explore Moorland. Of course, we're doing some extra effort at Glover & Glover. The thing about the Glover & Glover one is you can work your way up, but you work longer hours. So, I mean, one of the things you can say here, right, for some people, I'm not going to say this is a way to live your life for everyone. The elder Glover has called me into his office to congratulate me on my diligence. I watch the mole on his neck as he talks and talks and talks, but at the end of it, I have a promotion. My new position is better paid, and this desk stands by the street window. So, if you get a job with a higher amount of responsibility, this can be good in some ways, but bad in others, right? If you want to do things like, make a game in your spare time or something like that, sometimes it's not bad to have a job with lower responsibilities. Like sometimes taking that Starbucks job is not bad because the job may not be the most exciting and it may not pay that well, but it does give you the free time with which to pursue some of your other passions. So, like a good example here, right, is that the job I have is a good one and I really like it, but boy, I really do feel kind of the pressure in terms of timing. Like even when I was a student, like a lot of my time was taken up, but I definitely felt like I could sort of afford to to like play games more and stuff like that. Maybe that reflects my grades will reflect that. Oh. Well, good thing I don't use poetry that much, right? But yeah, so in this case, I think the way they've... I don't know if I can... I don't think I can move any cards now. That's going to be a problem. Let's give it a cycle to see if I can move things along, but... I mean, some of the stuff is automated, but yeah, I can't move any cards, so we'll restart. So obviously I won't repeat the stuff that I've done already, but we'll get a head start on some of the work that I want to do. So it seems like basically just flinging the cards around very quickly is a good way to get screwed. And we'll put the diligence into the work at Glover & Glover. But yeah, so like the idea here is, right, like, so, I mean, let's face it, like I'm not going to drop my job as an economist to go work at Starbucks so I can have my lifelong passion of designing games, right? More importantly, I think that is a false dichotomy. If Tom Francis can make Gunpoint by taking his weekends while he's working his full-time job, then there's no other excuse, right? So my legacy has arrived. I will employ reason because I kind of want to see what happens. But with that in mind, right, like, between trying to do the Twitch stuff, between trying to do the, wanting, I mean, the other thing too, like, there is something that people say about government work that you can sort of afford to, like, just coast by, that it's hard to get fired and things like that. I'm not even going to say, so without that pause button, you'd lose track pretty quickly. That's one of the things. I do encourage you guys to check out the, the associated blogs with this. Because there is a specific sort of design goal in terms of, I think I just screwed the resolution. In terms of doing like a real-time narrative game. The game is not as overwhelming as you might think. But I can definitely appreciate the fear. One of the things that makes this game seem... So I think being a little hectic is not a bad thing for this game. But I will also say that the fact that I'm trying to sort of maintain a stream while playing it is it's a little bit of a challenge. It's not impossible, but I do think it's making the game seem a little more hectic than it really is. Or maybe I'm just lying to you, so you start playing the game. You'd drop your job to go full-time if you could. For streaming, I can see that for some people. And I mean, as I said, like, so in terms of government work, I'm not even going to say, already have an affliction. I should have some money coming in. It's going to be tight, but I think I can make it. We'll do one more passion because I'm going to have some time while I'm sick. Not going to be able to buy any books, unfortunately. The Orchid Transfigurations. Don't know Latin, though, so it's not going to help me that much. So we're going to hold off on buying any new books until I'm healthy. Oh, I can put some more reason for the extra hours. I don't think that's going to savage me with my money. Yeah, no problem, Optimistic Gamer. I'd love to know what you think of Cultist Simulator when you try it out. But yeah, so like the thing is though, like there's a like I want to do good work, right? Like I chose this position for a reason, and it wasn't because I thought it was easy work. So what I'm going to do here to deal with my affliction, actually I'm going to do one more passion just because I don't have any money to spend on medicine. If you have no health and you get a sickness, you're going to... the younger Glover has taken me out to lunch at his club. I am to do more things than I can do more carefully, and in return he will give me a little more money, a little more of the money I earn for him. I suppose theoretically I could rise higher if someone died, so I'm going to use my position at the top of the food chain to do more stuff. I might be causing myself some troubles by burning my money so quickly, but I think I'm going to be able to get away with this. Alright, so the nice thing here is I've got some time. Victor, eh? Hello, Victor. The acquaintance. And we got, Guild Sleeves Latin Grammar. Just in time. So I'm going to learn Latin in my spare time. Then we'll be able to translate the Orchid Transfigurations. Alright, so I got 95 seconds before I get paid. I've got 17 seconds before I burn up more money. And I've got a minute. I think I'm going to be able to do it, but there's no advantage to me locking in that money until the bitter end. So I'm just going to wait Wait a little while. Uh-oh. All right, I pretty much have to... I'm gonna you only YOLO once this. This is more of an insurance policy, so... Alright. So I've learned that there's the possibility that the police will take an interest in me. Alright, so I've got my Latin down. We'll now do the Orchid Transfigurations. I've got some health to work with now. And let's do some more passion. Yeah, so I'm all good for the money situation for now. So as you can see, right, resource management. What was I gonna say? So I have to wait on my dream to finish before I fix this affliction. If I don't have money for 50 seconds, I'm gonna start starving, and that's gonna be that's gonna cause more health problems. So we will dump some money on the table. Again, I have nothing else to do but work, so we run by here. And first thing I'm going to do is fix my affliction. I think I'm also going to buy a book. Because I feel lucky. Alright, so I've got Glimmering. I've translated and annotated my copy. Now I can study it. And let's study my... And we got The Locksmith's Dream, A Light Through the Keyhole. So we're going to hold off on buying any new books for the next little while because I've got... I think I'm going to be just shy of being able to support myself. I think I'm even going to... I'm going to allow the affliction to stay with me for a little bit, just so I have this insurance policy of money. There might be like... I might get a clearer idea of what my situation's going to be. I have 27 seconds to decide. Well, you know what? Playing it now? That's really cool. And again, the pause button gives you the... Oh yeah, I was talking about the... about whether or not it's kind of hectic. Like, as you can see, I'm trying to avoid using the pause button here. I might, so I can talk about the decision. Okay, so here's kind of the decision that I'm facing. I can say, I can heal myself but potentially starve. But of course, I'm noticing now I've got 58 seconds before I need to feed myself, 49 seconds before I get paid, and 5 seconds before I use up my last funds. So this is fine to do. Now I can pause and meditate on that. But it's a little bit more interesting if I say it's like, okay, I need to make my decisions. And it's a little bit closer to life, right? Like, we have a finite amount of time to, you know, to do what we want in this world. And sometimes you make decisions which you ultimately decide were maybe not the best use of your time. But that's life, right? We have only a certain amount of time to accomplish the things that we want, so... I haven't been able to find a use for it yet, KLB, but that doesn't mean that there's no use for it. The one thing I notice is that they usually leave notes in this game if it doesn't do a whole lot. The other thing that I find kind of interesting about this game is how, like, so one of the big things that's happened in board games since Twilight Struggle has been the use of cards. So, like, again, I could almost sort of say it's like a board game version of The Sims, which uses kind of the new card-based mechanics. Time and again, we hear of the wood which rises from the world's foundation. All the trees reach for light. What does the wood reach for? Well, I'm going to try doing lore. I don't think it's going to work, but... All right, so I believe I'll be able to afford another book. I have another glimmering. I also haven't found a use for contentment yet. Yeah, so in 2 minutes I'm going to start starving, but in 81 seconds I'm going to get paid, so I should be okay. Alright, I think I've already used this one, but nothing of practical use. In this volume, Galmer records fewer dreams and explicates more of her own elaborate theories. As usual, I'll just take a quick look and see if I can dream about these things. I don't think I can, but it doesn't hurt to try. Don't think I can dream about my... Oh my god, another affliction. Yeah, so can't seem to do much about any of these. I may try using my notion on these. But first things first, I need to use up my funds. Where'd you go, Glover and Glover? There we go. Ah, that's the essence of these visions. What is below can't escape what is above. So additional erudition. Alright, this didn't work last time, but authorities are looking for me, but that's not the end of the world. What is this, though? A new acquaintance. Hello, Dorothy. Sickness has ravaged my body, so we will work with that when we can. So the idea here is I want to avoid getting notoriety while this thing is up. I'm also interested in the coloring here. So like the consent of wounds, I wonder if I'm supposed to make an association with Dorothy on that. And Dorothy is an enthusiastic sort with an eclectic reading habit. She's fascinated by your hints about the shapes beneath the world's skin. You may be able to recruit this acquaintance as a follower. So nothing of practical use. What if you combine it with other lore? Victor is a sly fellow, and he knows an unusual opportunity when he sees it. You might be able to recruit this acquaintance as a follower. So yeah, I'm going to hold off on buying anything at Moreland's. I am going to pay for my recovery, though, and we have the attention of the authorities. Alright, so I'm just going to take a look at a few things. Can't explore the consent of wounds. See, Reason has a yellow, sort of like a yellow association with it, but got my health back. Three seconds before I get paid, so we're just going to wait on that. Seems like a good time to buy a new book. Where did Moreland's go? Okay, so I can study Mansus and the succulent lore. I'm curious. So what if I dedicate health to this? All right, so I got another book I can look at if it comes down to it. I don't have any reason to talk with these people yet. Once I start doing kind of like the cult recruitment, I might change my position on that, but... I'm sure somewhere online somebody's bothered to do all the combinations, but by the way, notice here, like there are these points now when I'm trying like not to explain in like tedious detail every step. Notice there's like these times where I'm just sitting back and like waiting for things to complete. This is a little bit more what it's what the game is like. So, all right. So apparently I'm just perpetually sick. I will study Traveling the Night. Lopez's work is literate, entertaining, and bewildering. I'll make sure I get some money because I'm going to need to repair myself. And I'm going to see if I can try and found a cult again. Law permits no seal in isolation. It thrusts gleefully at the safety of ignorance. So consent of wounds seems sort of consistent with the Enlightenment character. I think I'm going to hold off on passion for a bit just because I know I'm going to have all right, some money. I can't remember. So if I work with... Yes. No. And if I explore with this? Nope. I honestly don't remember how I... Oh, that's right. I remember what I need to do now. I am going to do one more work at Glover and Glover. Actually, you know what? I think I just screwed myself. I don't think there's... I don't think I'm going to have time to use that special thing. Let's be reckless. I remember to make my cult, I need to use one of my Rouge-like girl. How are you doing? All right, we got Wood Whispers and Erudition. I'm educated. I know things, okay? So I seem to remember that none of these combinations would work too well for me. How are you doing, my friend? All right, so I've got notoriety, which I definitely do not want the police to know about. I do have a collection of poetry, so I can try and increase my passion. So this requires glimmering. I'll stoke my fire or sink my well deeper. Finally got out of bed at like 3 p.m. I don't think that's the worst thing in the world you could do, Rouge Light Girl. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to be able to afford to feed myself. I think Descartes wouldn't get out of bed until like the afternoon. He completely changed the way we looked at the world, so... So what I'm doing here is I'm waiting for this 34 seconds to tick down before I use this notoriety, because again, there's the possibility that the authorities will take an interest in me. There's no tangible benefit to me pulling this thing out and making it tick down until I'm going to use it. And I'm more than what I was. Dead Poet Society was right. Get that money in there. Okay, here we go. So now I'm going to use this notoriety to found my cult. I'm also going to use him to generate another. All right, so founding principle will be the consent of wounds. Damn it! Just seems in line with the Enlightenment notion. The Society of Midnight, dedicated to the hour at night's heart on which the world turns. All right. Ooh, I've got contentment. Now we need money. I think I'm going to hold off on spending money because I might be a little bit short when the time comes. Alright, so we're going to talk about the Society of Midnight. Dorothy, come join the Society of Midnight. We have a good health and dental plan. So no books this time just because I'm a little short on money. Now, I believe, so he says this is a sly fellow, so this is going to be the guy who I send to try and steal some books. All right, so I've got a believer who can start exploring the city. And now I need to bring Victor deeper into the wonderful world of the study of otherworldly things. So this is going to be done in 40 seconds. We'll have 20 seconds left, so we'll be... Yeah, so it's Rouge Light Girl. It's like... It's all about time management, really. There are kind of two... It seems like there's two paths to victory here. Either you can accept a mundane existence as a clerk, or you, at this point, I'm trying to sort of achieve my ambition to gain otherworldly wisdom, which is what I'm currently trying to do. The last round didn't work out because I hit a bug which prevented me from accessing my study. And one of the things I'm running into right now is I don't seem to be able to sort of crack the codes on some of these. All right. Oh, right. I still need to convert. So I'm now indoctrinating Victor into the ways of the cult, and I've got some money. Could theoretically buy a book. So let's do that. Then we can steal a book. So I'm thinking that what it might be is I need to steal one of these books to kind of combine these. I'm not sure though, so... Oh, another person wants to talk. Hello, Leo. Have you heard the good... Oh, a pleasant day. Some days are better than others. Sometimes the sky is nothing like a filthy sheet. Sometimes the river runs clear. So good things can happen to this game too. Okay, so we've got a collection of essays, which is not bad. We will now get Victor to do his thing. I will use my erudition on the collection of essays. This should improve my reason. I'm gonna wait till this contentment goes down before I start the cycle again. All right, so the authorities are interested in me. And I gained some notoriety. Oh, and I'm sick. Of course I'm sick. Why wouldn't I be sick? So I gotta wait a little while before I take this notoriety out. I don't know if this is done deliberately in the game or not. All right, I have a mystique. So let's do some recruitment. I think I'm actually gonna use... no, I should use the mystique. I was gonna say I could try and take that notoriety out, but that could just wind up on the desk and sucked up by the authorities. So just gonna wait a little while for the heat to cool down. And I will be able to afford to heal myself, so we'll wait a couple of seconds for the affliction to develop, and then I'll get paid and we'll be able to put things to where they need to go. All right. So now I've got notoriety. I've got more than one notoriety, so I want to be a little careful about this. I've got money. Back to work. Oop. Not going to buy a book yet. Leo is now a believer, which is good news for me. This is a little bit of a dilemma, because if I have more than one of these things out and I draw the wrong kind of attention, they are going to nail me to the wall. Yeah, nothing I can do about that. And I seem to have explored everything I need. So I think I'm just going to sit back and let nature take its course on this. I'm wondering if... Mr. Chalk, we needed you today. I was trying to figure out what the average annual income was in Stardew Valley and how badly your presence was destabilizing their economy. You know, I think Stardew Valley actually has quite a bit to say about... So it seems that like Joja, that like big company that's supposed to be like Walmart or Amazon. I think it's Amazon personally. It sort of feels like that's supposed to be a negative influence on sort of like the city. So there's, oddly enough, there's a few economic themes you can talk about in that game, in terms of like sort of the effect of these these large firms in terms of sort of people's, how do I put this, I mean, the farming thing's actually really interesting. Like the decline of farming. Like I can't remember what the statistics were in terms of like how many people were employed as farmers, like even 50 years ago to now. That number's dropped off significantly. Like it used to be basically everyone was a farmer in history. And that steadily declined, although its importance has not changed. And part of that is, of course, the efficiency, right? Like a lot of us don't need to farm because... I'm just going to pause for a second because I want to see if there's anything else I can do with... Okay, so with the Society of Midnight, it doesn't seem like there's anything else to be done here. I technically don't have another, like, sort of status effect. But let's just take a quick look and see if any of these other things work. Yeah, so it just seems like that's just a pure kind of recruitment effect. I'm going to try and put a little bit more into the job. But I'm pretty good for money now. I am going to still try and burgle something. But yeah, in my view, I don't think you'd be destabilizing the economy so long as you are, like, if you're working, if you're producing something, then presumably people should be able to either trade or make use of what you're doing. And I think in the game you like wind up sort of building up you repair stuff in the city. Like you have an active role to play, and you help people. So, all right. So we've got the Gerimand. Geminiad, manuscript of unusual antiquity. Can't seem to do anything with it, but yeah. So I don't believe it's in Latin. So I'm slightly curious. Let's say if I do the Delightful Sacrament. I'm just kind of curious if I can steal more books. All right, so I think this is the only thing I can get from. I'm going to keep trying because this guy seems to be good at stealing stuff, but I'm starting to lose a little confidence in my ability to combine these rituals in an important way. Nice thing is I've got reason to burn, so it's not the end of the world. Okay, so there's only one book I get out of this place. That, or I've just been incredibly, quote-unquote, lucky with the RNG. Now, it feels like I wasn't at that job that long. I'm curious if you dedicate... I'm curious if you dedicate the time... Nothing of practical use. Now I'm just going to throw random things at it. Another collection of essays. I don't think I have enough erudition for working that though, so. All right, so one thing I'm going to do here is take a look at how long it takes me to do my job in regular time. Actually, so it's about 150 otherwise. So if I put 2, okay, takes the same amount of time. So I think I'm probably just burning my my abilities there. So what you want to do here, Kaya LB, it wasn't obvious to me, but what you want to do is you want to take one of sort of your, for lack of a better term, like one of your statuses. So like if you have mystique or notoriety and you put that in work, you'll be able to found a cult as long as you have some lore to sort of center your cult around. So something like Mansus Glimpse, Society of Midnight, Wood Whispers, something like that. Speaking of farming, your little sister moved out to the country with her partner and she's now practically a farmer, fattening calves to sell. That's really cool, Rouge Light Girl. There was I can't remember the book, but there was a really good book on sort of the role of farming, the importance of farming, and okay, we're going to try something a little different here. So consent of wounds. Oh, I can't study that on its own. Mansus Glimpse. This time we're going to try the notion of enlightenment with it. All right. Attention from the authorities. So be careful with that. Found a way to just work forever, but no way to make money without ending the game. Well, like, you don't need to fill all of these. So if you put something into acceptance, you end the game. But if you want, you can just kind of, like what I usually do is I just get to the senior position and keep working to sort of maintain the money. But I don't really do anything about it. Oh, for God's sake, I'm sick again. But yeah, where I'm stuck now, so in the past, I've gotten to a point where I can do a ritual, but I seem to be missing something important. All right, let's reconsider this. So, got an affliction, notoriety. We're gonna pay to get rid of the affliction. Got a collection of poetry, but I don't think I have any glimmer. So it doesn't seem to be any reason for me to do more reason inside there. I do have some cash, so we're going to keep buying books. Nothing in practical use. Alright, we're just going to try... We're going to try each of the lore with my notion. I think we're just going to keep trying... We'll be trying the different combinations until we find something. Six letters on necessity. Am I ready to give up some money? I think I can risk it. I don't believe I've seen this book before, so this might give me something. And again, I'm fairly certain that there's like a Reddit which probably discusses all of these things, but I am very hesitant to try and look up this stuff because I suspect the fun of this game is trying to like find out how to progress. I've gotten to this point now where I sort of know how to sustain myself with the oh damn it, I forgot to put money in. I think I'm just gonna make it. All right, so my notion enlightenment does not do anything with the lore I can research. I don't think I can study wood whispers. Yeah. So 6 letters on necessity. Costly's tone is urgent, as if he suspected that he might have little time left. Another collection of poetry. We will not buy anything from Morelands because we really need money. I might cheat and pause just so I can get the benefit of my cash out. The collection of essays isn't going to do a lot for me because my erudition is only 1. Succulent lore thing keeps throwing you because you think of the plants. Oh, I actually have a succulent sitting beside me here. That was a gift from Jess on her first visit to Ottawa. All right. Actually, you know what? I didn't need to worry so much about that because in the 1 second it would have filled this, but just so we can be safe. And I should... You know what? I'm going to be a little more cautious here. And see where my money position is. I feel like there's something I should be able to do with my followers here that maybe I'm missing out on. Ah, ardent prayers. This is probably going to get me somewhere. So the delightful sacrament. Forge. Fire, I once read, is the winter that warms and the spring that consumes. The forge of days transforms and destroys. So I'm trying to go here with the idea of mixing the colors. May not be the right way to look at it, but it's what I'm going on right now. And when I can afford it, I'm going to buy some more books. Pretty sure I had one more passion. I think I just ate my passion, but... You have a spiky plant that looks a bit like a succulent but has normal leaves. I don't ever think I've seen a plant like that. All right, so 70 seconds. So subtract that 40. I've got 27 seconds before I can afford another book. Name is Spike. Cute. Discovering a ritual. All right. We're going to pause here so I can read it. I have read of a power that governs birth and blood. The right words and the right sacrifice might attract its attention. I have pieced together my ritual. I cannot be sure it will succeed. I can be sure there will be a cost in blood. So it requires a sacrifice, an invocation, a desire, and an instrument. All right, let's do something exciting, guys. Leo, you're into the occult, right? There you go. Dorothy is the instrument. Consent of Wounds is the... Oh, you know what? This doesn't count as lore? Yeah. And I want enlightenment. Oh, maybe I need to work. This rite sets the blood afire. The fire is a lesion in the skin of the world. The subject rarely survives unharmed. Exciting, no? I've got another collection of poetry. Boring. Pleasant day. Oh, the music's back. We got some crazy cult stuff going on here, guys. Now we're gonna do the great work. Hey Leo, come over here. I got something to show you. Sorry about that, Leo. Can I use this right to follow in the watchman's footsteps and learn of a house without walls? Probably not. Because if the color scheme is consistent, then I don't think that's going to fit, but we will see. I'm not going to buy a book until we know what we're doing here. Ah! The door in my dreams? It didn't work. I need to call upon another power too, a power of opening, and I'll need funds to purchase the rare wax candles that will light the watchman's path. Okay. So yeah, I absolutely love this idea of like this dramatic sequence. Like we sacrifice the cultist and like everybody's just kind of waiting around for the moment. And there's just this kind of awkward silence while everybody realizes the thing hasn't worked. Okay, I need to call upon another power too. A power of opening. And you'll need funds to purchase the rare wax candles that will light the watchman's path. So let me just think a little bit. Okay, so I can use money as the instrument. I feel like... So this says a power of opening for sure. You know what? I'm gonna try this thing again. I'm gonna sacrifice Victor this time. But I do need to make sure that I can stay... I need to make sure that I can stay solvent. So... I actually think we're gonna run into money problems. But, so, Rite of the Crucible Soul. Victor's gotta give himself up for the greater good. I really do think that the Consent of Wounds is the... I mean, like, you don't get a more obvious opener, right? Lie awake and listen. The wind speaks in the branches. The house cries out in its sleep. The roads for chaos ride. And snatch a poetry, a single memory in a certain house that is all of us visit twice our lives. Yeah, like those other ones just don't seem to... Those other ones just don't quite seem to fit. So... Anyone else getting excited to see where this goes? Alright, I don't have 3 erudition, so we will put that off to the side with the other grimoires. I guess I don't need Dorothy because I'm using money. So it should be okay money-wise. Hey, and it's a pleasant day. Just in time for my other contentment to go away. So again, I'm going to do the you only YOLO once move and do the right straight after my work here. I think I'm actually going to pause just to make sure that I get it done sort of efficiently. Hello, LCLTTA. How are you doing? We have been playing Cultist Simulator, which is currently in an alpha. There's going to be a Kickstarter for it in September, I think. And I'm quite interested in it. It's by Alexis Kennedy, who founded Fail Better Games. They made Sunless Sea and Fallen London. And this is, I kind of like to call it a board game version of The Sims, where you're sort of managing your time. You're trying to sort of keep yourself alive through money while filling your ambition to sort of be this this grand cult leader. Oh, I hear the watchman's footsteps. The walls of the world tremble like silk. I am very close. All my thoughts must converge. The ritual is complete. The door is opening. So I think I just put my ambition in here. Reason. Ah. I've achieved unearthly knowledge. I probably shouldn't have paused for that. Sorry, guys. I wanted to read the... Yeah, so this is neat. So, like, you have to pay attention to the reading. That's actually one reason. Again, this is the big thing for me on the pausing thing, is that you need to pay attention to what's going on. But you do have these timers that are going down. So I'd say if you take the time to read on stream, I'm not quite sure what to do about that. Because, like, obviously I was rushing a little bit through things like that, and I was cheating by pausing. Again, you guys can try this for free, ! Game. I encourage you not to pause. I understand it's going to be, especially if you like the kind of games that I do and play games the way that I do. Here we go. Each hour has its color. Each flame has its fuel. I've walked behind the watchman. I've seen his shadow on the stone. This is the first step in understanding the shaping of fate. If I had more time, I could learn to walk the mansus, gather disciples, find the star-shattered fane, watch the hours walk, grow long. By the standards of this prologue, this is a victory. But it was only a taste. In a full game, there would be much further to go. If you'd like more content, or if you have opinions to share, please click this button. If you'd like to experiment with this game a little bit further, this is the button for you. Or leave, is this goodbye? So I'm just going to click on more game and see what comes up. Oh, you know what? So I kind of feel like I'm done with this, which makes me feel bad for Elsie. If you guys would like to see another round, I will be okay doing that. But what I am going to try and do is I'm going to try and sell you on the Kickstarter. And you guys can let me know if you want to see some more of this. Cultist Simulator, behold our end. Kickstarter in September. Sign here to find out more. Cultist Simulator is a game of apocalypse and yearning from Alexis Kennedy, creator of Fallen London and creative director of Sunless Sea. Find abominable rites and dreams, craft tools and summon spirits, indoctrinate innocence, choose between sane and insane victory conditions, become the herald of a new age. The wood grows on the walls of the Mansus. Any student of the histories knows the Mansus has no walls. You'll face trials and temptations. You'll be destroyed by inner demons or torn apart by the red powers of the night, or ascend to the ranks of the long and the names and the hours. Your heirs and students and victims may succeed where you failed. There is never only one history. Cultist Simulator combines my usual pungent prose with crunchy crafting mechanics and with parallel victory conditions. It's possible, though very difficult, to find success in career or romance. You can always turn back from the brink and try to make a life, but why would you do that? Punctuality is the shadow of the gods. Immortals are always late. I'm planning a Kickstarter in September 2017 for released in February 2018. Back in September for access to the Perpetual Edition with free lifetime DLC guarantee. Each hour has its color, each flame has its fuel. Don't trust your dreams. Sign up below and I'll share more as it comes. Thank you. So please, I do encourage you guys, please do sign up for this email list. Again, if you want to try this yourself on itch.io, you can get this prologue alpha that I'm playing. Well, tell you what, Elsie, I will show you from the beginning. I'm going to do what I consider to be the cheater victory, but this should be fun. One other thing I'll do here is just show you some of the ideas about the Kickstarter or Cultstarter. Launching a game is more, by the way, with apologies to Mr. Kennedy, whose prose is much better than my capacity to read on a stream. Launching a game project is more like launching an expedition than it is like launching an arrow. Supplies are important, but knowing where the hell you're going and why is much more so. If you take the wrong heading, you can miss the oases and end up in the deep desert, wondering what all those vultures are looking at. Advice: travel directions, folklore, weather warnings are the difference between life and death. Case in point, from a write-up of a talk that I gave about Sunless Sea. Quote, when we first talked to our community about Sunless Sea, we talked to a very small group of our own fans. We said it was going to be like 2D Elite with sea ships, recalls Kennedy. But nobody under the age of 40 or out of the UK at the time had heard of Elite. Now you have because of Elite Dangerous. But we took that out of the pitch. Because we talked to our community for months before launch, we ended up with Lose Your Mind, Eat Your Crew, which was a lot better than 2D Elite with steamships. So I'm very interested in supplying the expedition, but much more than that, I want to get the community involved with the game as soon as I can. I've already got a bloody invaluable feedback from my subreddit, but Kickstarter communities are a whole nother level of involved. Accordingly, in the next few days, I'll be talking to the mailing list for everyone's thoughts on the preview version of the Kickstarter. If you haven't signed up, now is a good time to. Again, please click on the email updates. But here I want to talk about some of my thinking in the Kickstarter so far, specifically the rewards. The Cultist Simulator team is just me and a couple of freelancers. I've been involved in 3 Kickstarters, and I know too well how much time they can eat up, how pushing that funding total can come to seem as important as making the game. So I want to keep my budget modest, and I want to watch my workload carefully. That means I've ruled out a lot of possible rewards. I'm focusing on the things I can do without losing my mind. The basic reward for £10 or thereabouts will be a copy of the game. More specifically, a perpetual copy of the game. Any and all DLC updates forever. I've talked here about what that means and why I'm not doing a backers alpha or beta or any of those. This probably means less money, but also fewer headaches. So sort of the basics of this was the idea of maintaining multiple versions of the games for backers is very time consuming. And because it seems like he wants to keep kind of a lean operation, there's no sort of segmentation of the market in terms of like, you know, if you pay £20 or something like that, you get an alpha version of the game or something. The 30-tier copy is a copy of my digital notebooks, which look at all nothing like that, or which nothing at all like this. I reckon that this will be interesting to the people they're interesting to, and completely baffling to everyone else, which sounds like a good Kickstarter reward. The £50 tier is the You're in the Game one. Your name or a pseudonym goes in the game as an author of a forbidden work, damned soul, grasping tide spirit, oracular bottled ape fetus, etc. I reserve the right to veto unsuitable names because I still remember that time a backer tried to get a landmark named Dank Means Swamp in Sunless Sea, but I'll find something that works for us both or give you your money back. If I get a lot of backers, I'm really going to regret making this a 50 quid tier, but I'll put a whole extra library of Scarlet Monks in or something. It really helped having a bunch of backer names for landmarks in the Sunless Sea map. We had to do some massaging, but it was a nice creative constraint. And I am having to think up a lot of occult author names. The 100-pound tier comes with 2 promises. 1, I will invent a custom word, and 2, I will answer one question about the lore of any game I've worked on, including this one, as long as it's not NDA protected. The question must be asked on or before March 21st, 2021. Games I've worked on are here. Nota bene that Dragon Age 4 isn't on the list because no one's confirmed that Dragon Age 4 is happening, and even if they had, I would be NDA'd up the intimates. Again, this is strictly for people who want to see Cultist Simulator be as good as it could be, or for those few who are hopelessly haunted by some irresolvable riddle. I do quality words, though. The 500-pound tier, God Who is Stone, is, quote, I will send you a thing. This thing will be suitable for display if you like that sort of thing. So this is down to whether or not you want the kind of thing I'd send you based on my previous work. Fair dues, if not, honestly. You'll notice that this is the first physical reward, other than the flash drive of the digital notebooks will go on. Again, I think this will lose me cash, but it will save me a lot of time. I'm a small operation now. The 1,000-pound tier. God from Light, all of the above, plus work with me on a unique item in the game. Optionally, come round to my mysterious lair by the river in London, UK, while we talk the item through. This is how Nuncio and Visage, a bunch of marvelous stuff ended up in Sunless Sea, and I do that again in half a heartbeat. I'm locking this down to 3 max, though, because the back and forth takes a lot of time. The visit to my place is honestly for my benefit as much as anything. I'm always curious about what kind of super backers put this kind of money into a game, and I feel better about taking the money if I can shake someone's hand. I really wish I had the money for this, but maybe one day when I make a video game and all the billions come in. No. The 2,500-pound tier may not exist. Conventional wisdom is that there should be a tier before the next one. I think conventional wisdom is right, but it's tough thinking of rewards that are worth the money to the backer, don't cost me loads to fulfill, which don't require days of time. I'll keep thinking and looking for ideas. Incidentally, this is what the mailing list and the Reddit are for, so if you guys have any good ideas, I suspect they would be very welcome. The 5,000-pound tier, God from Blood, a tattooed developer. Choose any piece of game art to be tattooed on my actual skin. Seriously, you might remember I got inked with Sunless Sea art as a stretch goal. Conditions: it has to be Cultist Simulator art, or, quote, my girlfriend gets to veto anything too alarming. If we can't agree, I'll refund. This is basically me playing chicken with my audience. I slightly regret having the idea because I couldn't not put it in once I had, and I definitely regret that the Kickstarter pledge max is 5k, not 10k. Things I'm not offering. Possibly a scrap of the developer's soul, but probably not. This is with a £1 reward. I don't think I'll bother with a £1 pledge. I want people the chance to engage significantly. No custom content. This goes with the perpetual edition thinking. Honestly, I go back and forth on pre-order bonuses and whatnot. I think they're legit. I think developers have a right to monetize their games how they want, but it's hard to calibrate what feels reasonable versus what feels like horse armor. And it takes time to write content if you want to give value, so I'm going for less cash, less headache. No digital art book. They take real effort to put together, and I never look at them for other Kickstarters that I've backed. Everyone tells me I'm wrong, I might add one. If everyone tells me I'm wrong, I might add one. No other physical rewards. It always takes more time than you think. I might go for smaller physical rewards if some good ideas occur. But I keep coming back to this. High funding total is secondary. Getting directions through the game development desert is what I most need. What's that? You'd like the sign-up link again? Delighted to oblige. Click here to get email updates. Witherfactory.biz/cultstarter. Nope, you don't need to see that. All right, so I did say I was going to do one more round. I might do the cheater. I'm beginning student in the Invisible Arts. I have only time, hunger, and a little money. So, again, just for the benefit of those who have not seen the game yet. So this is how you begin. There is supposedly a zoom option in the game, but it isn't enabled for me. I can only just slightly nudge the table like this. Time is always running down. I need money to live, but I'm hoping for a parting gift from my correspondent soon. So basically, if you click on something, it gives you a write-up. My correspondent is gone. You can make health Kaya LB. If you click on Dream and you put your affection in here, you can spend funds and that will give you 1 health back. So affliction into Dream, make sure there's money there by the time the timer runs out, and that will turn it into a health for you. Alright, my correspondent is gone, the pneumonia they tell me, but the dreams are not. Click the dream token and drop this item into it. So the game doesn't completely leave you twisting in the wind. Now I know this kind of from what the rest of the game tells me, but I'm going to find clerical work. By the way, this is not the only thing you can do. You can also use your health or your passion to do other work. Oop, I forgot to do the note. Okay, so I got my junior position. And I will be diligent. So again, the idea here is that you do have sort of this ticking time bomb of just the passage of time, right? Everybody has to pay rent, everybody needs to buy dinner. But you have other things that you can do in this game. So in this case, your priority is not necessarily to become the best clerk, it's to become, you know, the herald of a new age, which we managed to succeed to do in the last playthrough. There we go. Again, I'll pause again just for the benefit of the reading. The matter of my inheritance is resolved. I have been promised a package. A legacy arrived. My package has arrived. I must study it. Drag the legacy out onto the tabletop and then back into the study action. So, and then I can take an approach. So in this case, we'll do passion just because that's, we did reason last time. I'm not 100% sure what contentment does, but it's kind of something free that I can tick by. I will get, so I'm going to be able to support myself with my job anyway, but I also know I'm going to get some money from my legacy. Alright, a little money and a journal plucked from the fire. Only a dozen pages remain unburnt, but it's enough to confirm my suspicions. My correspondent knew of powers that generals and kings would envy. If only I could follow in their footsteps. There is a note here, directions to a bookshop that does not advertise its wares. So, instead of enlightenment, we now have the notion of power, and we've got some spare passion. And I will study the directions to Moorlands. The directions to Moorlands shop are cryptic. When one deals in the kinds of books my correspondent studied, one must be circumspect. So again, the ideal way to play this is not doing what I'm doing. But by the way, if you guys don't like the music, there is a way to turn it off, but shame on you if you do. Alright, so I got some money, and I got promoted, which is good. So I got some erudition from my exploration, and we found Moorland's shop. In an ill-lit street, in an ill-favored bend, in a lesser river, a soft yellow light through a grimy window. Miss Moorland nods as I enter, but doesn't rise. Never ask the names of my clients, she informs me, before I have time to introduce myself. So we don't have anything to study right now, but we do have some money with which we can purchase a new book. So the reason we're looking for books right now is so that we can study them and hopefully find something. Basically, right now we have the ambition of becoming a, the herald of a new age, but we don't have any particular, I don't know, forbidden knowledge to sort of do this business with. So that's why we go to the bookstore. Sometimes we get poetry, sometimes we get knowledge which is best left untouched. Today we got poetry. So I'm going to wait a little while because I'm going to need some money, I think. let me see. So, nope, I should be able to afford it, so. Poetry does have a role in the game. You can improve yourself with it, but it does require a couple of... It does require a certain sequence of events, so... I'm happy, I think. All right, so we've got Gildersleeve's Latin grammar. That will be helpful for studying fancy-ass books in different languages. And I am sick. I have become unwell. If an illness cannot consume health, it will cause death. All right, so I got another promotion. Let's see if we can get a new book. So Kyle B, if you're watching right now, you will see in 28 seconds how you can get some health back. My apologies, 40 sec. Nope. Yeah, 40 seconds. More like 35 now. So again, notice as you get promoted, it does take longer, so you need to sort of manage a little more long term, but I like the fact that the game does that. All right, so I've got Latin. The authorities are paying attention to me, but I don't have a lot to worry about there because I haven't done anything nasty. And unfortunately, my study has been bugged out, so I don't have any way of reading the 6 letters on necessity. Warnings and confession about the cost of the secret arts addressed to a student by a 17th century magus and reputed immortal Julian Costley. So what is a young occultist to do? Well, curl my hands into the correct shapes and begins. Can devote extra efforts, acceptance. I've given up my dreams, I'll live well enough. So what you do here, Kyle B, in order to get your health back, you can take an affliction, disease has left me weak, I need rest and nourishment if I am to recover. So I think the idea here, dream, rest, reconsider your priorities, or risk yourself in exploration of the kingdoms of sleep. So to recover my health, I'll need money for food and medicine. Click on that. Unfortunately, this just ate up my funds, so I'd have to wait until next payday, which would still arrive, but basically under nourishment, I would need to put funds. It even tells you here if you click on it. But yeah, that's how you get your money back. Oop. This is pleasant. I have my fire, my books, my clock, my window on the world where they... I have my fire, my books, my clock, my window on the world where they do other things. I could have been unhappy. I'm not unhappy. This is a successful life, and when it is over, the sweet earth will fill my mouth softer than splinters. By the standards of this prologue, this might be considered a victory. You could carry the legacy through to another character. So it is possible you don't just have to fulfill the ritual in the game. You can retire as a content clerk. You know, you keep the economist job forever. You don't do any more creative work, and you you retire with money in your pocket. But yeah, that is Cultist Simulator. I think I'm done with this game for tonight. And I was tempted to try and do another one, but it is a little late for me. So what I'd like to do is a bit of Q&A on this game. And this is partially questions from me and questions from you guys. What do you guys think of this? Are you interested? And what, like if if I were to do more of this, either if there's like an early version that comes out during the Kickstarter, or, you know, when the thing finally comes out, like, is this something you'd like to see more of? Is this something you can see yourself playing? Because I definitely want to encourage people to give it a try. One of the main reasons for this is that there's a bit of an established track record with this designer. Generally, the games that have resulted have been quite good. And I found, like I said at the start of this, I found the game a little confusing when I first did it. And that was sort of enough, because I knew it was an alpha. Like, that was almost enough for me to not investigate it. But like, my intention was to maybe play 2 rounds of this, and I've now been playing it for about 2 hours and 40 minutes. So this is, again, a very small slice of the game. I will put the command in again. So Cultist Simulator, you can check it out at weatherfactory.biz/cultist-simulator. I believe if you go to cultistsimulator.com as well, you can pick it up there. But I think this is a really neat idea. Again, so what are the main reasons why this game is interesting and fun? I like that Elsie thought the game was nice. I also kind of like I like its style and its tone. The main idea here, and again, the analogy, I have no idea if this is the intention or not. But the analogy I like to draw is The Sims, right? I mean, in some cases, The Sims is a bit of a satire, which is, you know, the more acquisitions you get, the more time you spend maintaining them, and the harder it is to be happy. But I think more importantly, like, if you think about how The Sims works, the idea is that you have a certain amount of time. And again, you can take a look at this in real life as well, right? You have to allocate your time in a certain way. You also have certain resources, right? I am no longer like picking up film mags and, you know, I'm no longer holding the camera or setting up the tripod or anything like that, or moving lenses and carts all over the place. Like, when I worked in film, that was physically demanding work. And I'd usually be very tired because they'd be like 16-hour days, or, you know, or on TV shows, maybe like a 12-hour day or something like that. And, you know, Friday nights, it would be like going into like until 4 o'clock in the morning. And so like, I don't even really have a weekend. I have kind of like a day. So that's physically exhausting work at times. But like doing the econ stuff, if you sit down, like if I'm sitting down and like I have to do like solid work throughout, like it's just, you know, problem after problem after problem, that's still mentally exhausting, right? Like, this is the idea that you have only so much reason to apply. You know, if I have a day, so, you know, I work a pretty standard like 9 to 5-ish kind of job, but if I've been like doing some hard math and then like trying to interpret some estimates that I've gotten, and then like trying to write a paper to a quality that it can be published and so on and so forth, and like I've had a break for lunch, I'm probably not going to come home and like read Samuel Huntington or something like that. I'm probably going to want to like sit down and say, okay, I'm going to shoot some aliens for a bit. Or I'm not going to like, you know, I'm probably not going to sit down and like want to do more. I do like some programming, like I do SAS at my work. So it's like, I'm probably not going to want to sit down and like do a lot of hardcore coding. I might do something like casual, like something that's kind of fun for me. Like maybe like some simple bug solving or something like that. Cause like, you know, sometimes it's problem solving and it's fun. But like, you know, I think everybody's had this experience where like you're just mentally exhausted because you've just been like churning through problems the whole day. Sitting down jobs are too hard for you, Rouge Light Girl? Is that an attention thing, or is it just something that doesn't really motivate you? So, you know, you can see these like the cards at the start here, right? And then of course you have your health, right? So if you know, you can go hard on something, but usually you have to give up. So it's like, if you want to use your reason for your passions, in this case, your passion being, you know, the study of the occult, well, that's fine, but you might have to give up the money. And if you give up the money, if you neglect yourself, if you neglect your physical well-being for a while, that's going to consume your health. And of course, if you're using your health to make money, you're going to have less of that resource to go by. So in this game, there are good and effective ways to manage your time. And at least in this demo version of the game, it is possible to have a reasonably successful career, to keep yourself, stocked full of books, and, to keep your little cloister of cultists going. And for you to sort of fulfill your ambitions. But I suspect probably in the final game, there might be a little bit more. It's almost like a European board game where like you have 3 equally awesome choices, but you can only do 1 each round. Your ADHD brain can't deal. Yeah. Used to work 8+ hours a day in the vineyards and feel awesome. But if you can't work from an office, your brain would die. Even now you're standing up. I'd love like a standing desk, but I guess there's nothing that stops me from doing this. So yeah, I mean, it's like you can sort of see you can see like the mapping of real life. And I mean, I encourage you guys to check out even if you don't play this game, and shame on you if you don't, like you can check out the Weather Factory blog, and like you can see, so like Sunless Sea, Kennedy himself says like, so Sunless Sea, you have this analogy of like kind of a small indie company, like just taking a shot in the dark on this like Hail Mary Kickstarter to keep them afloat. And you have this exploration of a dark and frightening unknown. Now he's trying to balance his time amongst his passion projects and making ends meet and so on and so forth. Like, it's clear to see where his priorities are. But I think what's so great is he definitely has a way with words. He's found a way of sort of mapping his life experience into a series of game mechanics. And he's gotten some very talented people to realize it in terms of a user interface and some art. And then the thing that I like is that there's enough space for some emergent gameplay, right? So like we had that wonderful moment where like we do the dramatic sacrifice, we kill one of the cult members, and it turns out, the portal doesn't open, or I haven't achieved great enlightenment or something like that. And, we realize that I've misinterpreted the instructions, that actually I was just supposed to sacrifice money, not a life. So you've made your desk a standing desk, just get a bunch of like books underneath it. So yeah, I mean, this thing is definitely sort of ticking me in all of the places. So one, there really isn't a game like this out there. Because The Sims is obviously so different from this. Like, this is a nice, stripped down, simplified version of, and I don't even want to make this, like, I don't want to make too much of the Sims analogy. It's just, to me, that's kind of the first thing I think about if I were to try and tell someone, like, what is this game about? Like, what do you keep doing? How do you sort of stay on the treadmill, or how do you just sort of keep moving in the game? And I would say it's the management of that time, trying to achieve what matters to you. And of course, the nice thing here is that the game is sort of neutral in terms of it. I think the only real bad ending is if you die. As it says, by the standards of this prologue, this could be considered a victory. So the shortest route to victory is just do well at your job and sacrifice your dreams. But yeah, so it's, this is the sort of stuff, this is stuff why I like why Unity exists. So this wasn't originally a Unity. This was originally a JavaScript, I think, program. But it's been converted into Unity now. I like the fact that it's easy to sort of prototype games like this, because it's, like I said, I think this is a concept that can be applied to, so these game mechanics can be applied to other ideas. So whether or not we get additional DLC in terms of like different paths that you can go down in terms of what your cards do, or it's a different setting. There's a lot of different ways that you can kind of take this idea, and just the simple idea of sort of managing these resources over time, and sort of, again, letting the writing sort of take your imagination, and you sort of filling in the blanks. I find this just a really charming and really engaging game. Again, there's only so much that I can say, but again, the average playtime listed on itch is 30 minutes. And I've now been playing it for about 2.5 hours. So yeah, I don't know, guys. I really do encourage you to check it out. !game or I think the link is still visible in chat, http://weatherfactory.biz/cultist-simulator. You can sign up for their mailing list so you can be informed about the Kickstarter. You can go on their Reddit to get the feedback from the game. If you want, you can, I actually really do encourage you to check out, so if you, the blog entries are really good on Weather Factory. You can follow Alexis Kennedy on Twitter. I believe he's at Alexis Kennedy. You know, as some, I just like, he tweets interesting things. So that to me is worthwhile. If you guys missed this at the beginning, his credits include Fallen London, Sunless Sea, Horizon Signal. He's done something for BioWare and something for Telltale, both of which have not been announced. But clearly a guy with a way with words. I like a lot of the stuff that he has to say in terms of game development and some of the articles that he's written for things like Eurogamer. But I think, just more importantly, like a really solid track record in terms of games, just interesting stuff that I haven't sort of been able to experience otherwise. And I really hope I get to see Cultist Simulator. I probably won't be able to back too high on the Kickstarter, but when it's on there, I'm definitely going to throw some money at it. So anyways, guys, I know this is a shorter cast tonight. I was expecting to do a different game, but I think rather than do just a short period of time in another game, I am going to take what I had and leave that for Friday. There will definitely be a cast on Friday. Yeah, no problem, Elsie. I know, especially when I leave shorter. And with a game like this, I know you didn't get to see a lot of gameplay, so hopefully I gave you something to download when you get back from work. But yeah, I will absolutely make sure that I do a proper stream on Monday. I'm thinking of doing Walking Dead, but if you guys would like to see something like Sunless Sea, I may be convinced otherwise. But I think I want to I don't just want to do Walking Dead. I want to do several episodes of Walking Dead. But yeah, as it was, maybe I'll leave it at this, guys. Like, the intention was to do a round or two to say, it's like, hey, here's a cool game. You should check out, the alpha before the Kickstarter comes out. And we'll leave it at that. Now we're going to play an episode of The Walking Dead. And this became a whole cast. So, yeah, I hope you stop by on Friday so we can all enjoy The Walking Dead together. And then once we finish The Walking Dead, I can go back to some of the other things that I've started and haven't finished. So we might do some Tyranny. Definitely we'll get back to Assassin's Creed Unity, because it's been about a week and a half since I've done that. And there's a couple of other things which I haven't started yet, but I want to try and digest some of the things that I've started before I do some new series. But we've got some classic games coming up, as well as some contemporary games which I've never played before. So I think you guys will be reasonably surprised and interested when I finally close some of these things off. Anyways, we are going to host Kilgore Trout tonight. No One Lives Forever 2, A Spy in Harm's Way. As always, Kilgore is a very good friend of this cast, so feel free to drop the raid message as usual. We're tired of system talk, heard this place was better. I probably won't hang out for too long. I usually say that about Kilgore, and it's not because I secretly don't like his cast, but one of the reasons I'm ending at the time that I am is because it's a little late. And I'd like to get a proper night's sleep before work. There's quite a bit of work to be done, and if I can be sort of 100%, I'll make sure that I manage my resource cards the appropriate way. But thank you, everybody, for sharing this game with me, and please do consider trying it out for yourself. Have a good one, guys.